Welcome back, it's Nine, and today I got another big video for you guys. We are going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 and 2. We're going to be talking about Final Fantasy 16, and we're going to be talking about BloodBorne and potential sequels that could come after that. Now, before we get into that, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get notified about all my upcoming videos, and hit the like button. It helps the channel a ton. Now, let's get right into this, and this article comes from Twisted Voxel. Guys, if you remember my channel, if you were an early subscriber, you're going to know that I used to cover Final Fantasy extensively. So this is a bit of a reminiscing moment for me when I used to create that content. Now this is titled Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy 16 to get new information in 2021. And I know we're probably thinking, well, this is kind of obvious. Like, obviously we're going to get information on these two games. But there's more to it than just that, as they were interviewed and they were asked about some keywords and what's new. And those are the big things that we're going to cover here. So Yoshinori Kitase was interviewed and he asked for keywords for 2021, and he says the story will connect. And he was asked what's new, and he says future Final Fantasy VII developments are in preparation, but please wait a little while longer for details. Now, the thing with Final Fantasy VII Remake, this game is a timed exclusive to the PlayStation 4 for now. It's going to end come 2021. Obviously, it was a one-year exclusive, and that begs the question, what's next? And obviously, there's a lot of speculation about there being a definitive edition that ends up launching on all platforms, being PC, Xbox, and obviously PS5. And I see that happening. But then there's the discussion of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 or Final Fantasy VII Part 2, whatever they're going to call it. And it seems as though this could be potentially a reveal year for it, or at least a trailer that we would get for it, which would make sense. I mean, given that, you know, they are supposed to be putting out these parts closer together, but just not as big as they've stated before. It's exciting to hear about it. Obviously, I have great things that I feel about the game, and there are certain things that concern me about the game, but nonetheless, the future will tell just what this game holds. But this is a major exclusive for the PlayStation. Let's not forget that. This is going to be a title for the PlayStation platform that's going to move units in a way, because Final Fantasy VII is huge, and obviously we know of the success Remake had, and obviously the success the original had on the PS1. So it is one of those staple RPGs that was, you know, first on the PlayStation platform. So it's going to make a big difference when they do announce Final Fantasy VII 2 and it possibly being an exclusive for the PlayStation platform, which I believe will be the case. And of course, with Final Fantasy VII Remake, we also have Final Fantasy 16 coming from Square Enix. Naoki Yoshida suggests that 2021 will be the busiest year for him, and he is teasing new updates for both Final Fantasy 16 and 14. Now, keywords is for 2021, he says an open mind. And I think he's referring to Final Fantasy 16. And the reason I say that is because the gameplay is drastically different, very reminiscent of a Devil May Cry type game. We know that I think it was the battle director or something along the lines is working on Final Fantasy 16. So that's why it looks so much like a Devil May Cry game. And I think that departure from the traditional Final Fantasy games, it might be a shocker to some people. But I think, yeah, he's right. Keep an open mind about that. So I think that's what he's referring to. When he refers to his ambitions for 2021, he says 2021 will be the busiest year of my career. I'd like to make it a year in which I can deliver surprise and excitement to gamers and players while also paying attention to my health. So maybe this means we are going to possibly, you know, get a release date. Maybe, I don't know if we're going to get a release in 2021, but possibly a release date announced. That would be amazing. Obviously, that's pure speculation. Nothing in here says that's going to happen, so just to be clear. And then when he's asked what's new, he says, please look forward to various announcements for both Final Fantasy XIV and Final Fantasy 16. And Final Fantasy 16, guys, is a PlayStation timed exclusive as far as I know. So this is a big title for PlayStation. It is an incredible title for PlayStation, actually. And I think it's another game that's going to make a huge impact on a platform like PlayStation, where JRPGs just thrive on that platform. So really excited to see what this entails and what we're truly going to see come 2021. I think if they are able to put out a Final Fantasy 16 game in 2021, I doubt it. Obviously, I doubt it. But if it happens in 2021, and then on top of that, we get Final Fantasy VII Remake 2 in 2022, exclusively both to the PlayStation platform, it's going to be really big moves for the PlayStation platform. And I think there's no two ways about it. That's just the facts, right? That's 100% going to make a big impact. Now on to our next topic. This comes from Twisted Voxel as well, and we've been thinking about BloodBorne. What's going on with BloodBorne? Are we going to get a BloodBorne 2? Is this IP forgotten about? What's happening, right? Are we going to get a remaster of BloodBorne? It's all up in the air, and it remains to be up in the air, but this article talks a little bit about it. So, BloodBorne listed as a franchise by a senior PlayStation executive. So if you guys aren't familiar with what a franchise might mean, it means more than just one entry, right? So as discovered on the LinkedIn profile of senior PlayStation executive Shiva Allari, Sony apparently considers BloodBorne as a franchise. In the profile of Shiva Allari, the executive mentions working with PlayStation on franchises such as Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, The Witcher, Overwatch, Fortnite, God of War, FIFA, Football Manager, Sonic, Total War, and BloodBorne. And obviously the odd one out here is that BloodBorne only has one entry on the PS4 with a DLC expansion. So it would be odd, okay, to call it a franchise and basically there only being BloodBorne. So I think the point and what people are getting at here is that this alludes to the possibility or the likelihood of there being a second game in the BloodBorne IP. I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't really think we needed this to tell us that. The success of BloodBorne, the love for the IP that the fan base has, that alone, I think, solidifies there being a chance of a BloodBorne 2. This game did really well. It reviewed exceptionally well. It only makes sense that we're going to see a sequel to the original. And this goes on to say just how many IP Sony have. Like, it's crazy that they own this, they own Demon's Souls, obviously, and they have a lot to work with. People love these Souls-type games. So I think they could do a lot with the BloodBorne IP, and I think that, yeah, we are going to see a BloodBorne 2 eventually. Will it be in 2021? Probably not. 2022, maybe then we can start hearing about there being a BloodBorne. But first and foremost, if From Software is going to be involved, like I think they would be involved, I think that they need to finish up with Elden Ring before they can go and revisit the BloodBorne universe. So with that said, I think it is, again, speculation, but based on the wording, franchise, unless it's an error, which I doubt it's an error, it, implies that there is going to be more than just one BloodBorne game. So I'm going to pass this on to you guys, and I'm curious what you guys are going to make of all this, between Final Fantasy 16, possibly, getting some big news in 2021, maybe even a release date, between Final Fantasy 7 Remake, part 2 or part 1 definitive edition happening. What do you guys think of these two things, and how do you feel about BloodBorne? Do you think that we're going to see a BloodBorne 2 soon? Do you think them mentioning it as a franchise has any weight to it, or is this just a mistake? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get notified about all my upcoming videos, and hit the like button. It helps the channel a ton. You can follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Links will be in the description, and share this video with a friend. I will talk to you all on the next one. Take care.